Okay, Kaanchi, so welcome and congratulations first on your great achievement, right? And
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much for agreeing to this interview. Okay, so the purpose again is the same. That I will be talking about how did you prepare, every one of your subject one by one. Okay, and then I will ask you some of the questions the student gave me that I asked from everyone actually, right? So same thing I will be repeating from you also, but obviously your answer will be a little bit different. Okay, I mean from your perspective. Okay, so let us start first with tell me about yourself.
I did my graduation from Wireless Law College, Pune, and in 2017, then I worked for 7 months as a corporate lawyer in Delhi, and then I decided to appear for the civil service.
Okay, so from being a lawyer, you thought that today itself in Live Law I wrote an article, right? And that specifically I mentioned this, right? For young lawyers, right? It is very tough to get into law in the beginning, right? I will send you the
Yes.
link of that.
Okay.
Today itself I was I written that particular article. So they tend to go for, especially the smart one, the brilliant ones. They know that the time that you will give in the law will be in the 20-30 year gestation period, and then too it is not very certain that whether you will get such much easily recognizable, right? So it is they tend to go to civil service. That is great loss to the to the bar, but obviously
Sir, my inspiration was slightly different. I actually felt that law is certainly there, but I would want to be a part of the implementation because there are so many things that uh, so many ideas that I was getting when I was working as a corporate lawyer.
so,
So that,
you were thinking that how it could have been changed better, or it could have been implemented
yeah,
better.
I could see that already a lot of things were happening. A lot of new models were coming for implementation. So I just wanted to be a part of it. So that is how
That
I
is
got
brilliant.
interested.
That's very good. And for law, the laws that I was talking about, you can always come back to the bar, right? I'm telling that to everybody. You can always come after, 10, 15 round service. Okay, so let us start with the constitutional law, paper one. How did you prepare for constitutional law? And be very elaborative, okay? Because, the people are listening and they want, really your help. Yes, please.
Sir, the basic first thing was to look at the syllabus because in the law school, whatever syllabus we have, it is much more vast than what the optional papers requires. So I looked at all the topics that have been given properly, and a lot of people that I've heard refer to these guidebooks known as Dukhi. But I saw some topper videos. There I felt that I would want to stick to my own sources that I did in my college times. So I think the good part was that I stuck to the textbooks that are there so that my source of information was more authentic and enriched. So that is what I did. I ensured that for every topic I have case laws and good introduction, conclusion, stuff like that. So that is how I prepared. For constitution, certain topics are not given in the standard books or they are given but not in much detail, so then internet was the main source. Fundamental rights, I felt that it is something which has to be done in detail, so I went into reading also some part of MPGen that has a very good amount of legal theory given in it. So that is how I tried to do.
Okay, and that note making that you do. So what you did that for each topic, you had a good conclusion and good, introduction part, right? So did you note it down? Or did you simply read it down? And I think this is the same thing I used to tell you, right? You should have a very good introduction for each and every
Yes,
topic.
sir.
So how did you do that? I mean, did you remember it, or did you wrote it down somewhere? I mean,
Sir, I think everyone has a different way of doing it. Some people, they just can't do it from books and they do make notes. But for me, I had a different style of doing it from the textbook itself, from my college days itself. So I used to mark the book very nicely and I would refer to it for revision. Sometimes, if I felt that a topic is something that is very, very vast, then I would just note down the body of it in a note format. But uh, I just went for book revision. That is my way of doing
Acha. So what about the administrative law part? Obviously, it is very vast, but the topic we have two, three. How did you prepare administrative law, or any
it.
books, notes that you refer? Yeah.
Yes, sir. I did refer to a book, but I think that was something I could have skipped. I felt that during the revision, I went too deep into administrative law. It was
Coming,
not
it is
required.
something. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, now.
Uh,
Okay, yeah.
okay. So for administrative law, I went into too much depth initially. So I felt that during revision, I felt it was not actually required to do that much. So I refer to, I think, IP Messi's book is there, I think. So I went into that, but later I felt I could have skipped that book. Maybe went for something more brief. So yeah.
Now, what about the paper two, right? How did you study it? I mean, sorry, part B of paper one, international law. What you did for international law?
So the basic books again, S.K. Kapoor for some topics H.O. Agarwal. I used to refer in my college days, so I went to that again. Again, in these topics, I was ensuring that I'm sticking to the basics, not going into a lot of depth. Because since the syllabus of law optional is also pretty vast, so we need to ensure that we are ensuring wider coverage of areas than going for a lot of depth. Because SK Kapoor again is going to be too deep if one goes into reading every aspect of it. So there we have to decide that which topics are better in which.
You have to pick and choose, you know.
Yes.
Okay, so let us coming back to the paper. Achha, one more thing, sorry, first, is that with regard to paper one, right? So there was a general, feedback, right? Also, the feedback was same this year also, that we have to write more, generic answer rather than stuffing it with the case law. So do you think that feedback holds true for you as well? In constitutional specifically.
So in my part, I wrote case laws.
So you wrote
So for example, I think there was a question on secularism and preamble also. I think I'm not sure. I don't remember it, but I think secularism there was a question. So I wrote case laws, and I was trying to give a wider coverage, as much wider coverage to questions.
Okay, so let us come to paper two, right? So what about law of crime? How did you cover it?
So I did the PSA Pillai's book very nicely. That's the simplest book. So I did that very nicely. Again, revised it multiple times, and I felt crimes is one part which one can do very easily, because ingredients, if you know, and if you know the basic case laws, uh, you can score easily in that part.
And what about the law of tort?
Sir, I think I did Banghia's book. There's the basic book of torts, which is there in college. That I did.
So, I mean, that one person I was taking in the same interview. So he told me that in Bangia there is some short note in the index portion, right? Sorry, so that short note itself was more than sufficient. Do you agree with that, or do you need to go in more detail?
So for me, I had already the book marked from my college days, so I read that highlighted portion.
Okay. Because generally people see those videos and they think that they can also do like that, and within the notes they can do it, right? But that is sometimes not true for everyone, right?
Yes,
You have to make their own journey. So that is the main point I would like to make, that simply by watching you cannot think that you can do.
Yes, you have to put your own strategy there. You have to ensure you understand the topic and you've done the coverage.
So it doesn't matter that in which way you understand, simply copying, pasting more. Okay. And now what about the CLD part? It is very dynamic and all those. How did you cover that?
Sir, I went for internet in that. Whatever basic things are there, like many websites provide this. Live Law is there. There are, I think, iPleaders also has very good short notes and stuff. So wherever I could find information, I did. I think Mr. Desai Associates, the primers are there for certain topics, IPR and all. So that can give a basic understanding for CLD. But when I was actually attempting the paper, I actually did not do a lot of CLD questions. I felt I could have prepared it better. But because my torts and contracts and crimes was well prepared, I could manage it somehow.
And what about the contract paper? And because especially in contract, there are some of the topics which is act in itself, right? So especially how did you handle that? Because the student generally ask me now. Say I give advice based on my experience, but what how did you do it?
Sir, again, I felt my strategy went too deep here. I think I could have changed it a little. For example, for partnership, I did the whole what Bangia, I think the second book of contract that I did. Later, I felt okay, it's very difficult to revise it. So maybe I'm not sure how to do it in short, but maybe when we are reading those books, maybe we can do, and short, maybe we can make some notes so as to revise it quickly. But then again, I think if we look at the previous year questions, they are asking. You can't actually just try and say कि नहीं हम skip कर देंगे. We have to write case laws, I think, in that also. So I'm not sure how to do it in short, but I did the book.
What about that negotiable instrument, right? That theory of a lot of topics.
Yes,
And if you look at the previous year paper, it is literally asking every topic.
every topic.
Right. So how did you prepare that? Suppose that is the example negotiable instrument. In the case of that insurance, they ask only one question: what are the important aspect of insurance, contract of insurance? That's
Yes, sir.
but in the case of this negotiable instrument, they dig deeper. So I mean, how did you prepare?
Sir, online I went for this. I think I watched some YouTube videos to understand the basic of it, and some online part I referred. So whatever these blogs and all are there for law part, that helped. Yes.
Now, some of the questions of non-academic nature, right? First, what are your messages to the candidates, right, who could not qualify? As I know, you have been, as you told me, right, for 2-3 years ago, have been trying. Which attempt was this for you?
Third attempt.
Third attempt. So, when did you actually started to prepare? In the college or after you passed out, or when you were in job? I mean, the purpose is that what exact time it took you to crack it? Yes.
Sir, I prepared after I left my job. Because before, like I spent all my college 5 years of my law school properly in understanding law, because I wanted to be sure that I'm first clear with that. And at that point, I was not very sure of doing civil services. In school time, sometimes I used to think, but I did not have a very good reason that why I want to do civil services. So when I took law, I was really interested in reading it. I used to enjoy reading law. So I spent all my 5 years ensuring that I understand it. I participated in moot court competitions, wrote research papers, did everything that is necessary for a wholesome understanding of law. And I think that was good also, because that really helped me be confident that my professional field as a lawyer is very much well secured and it's prepared. So only after I started working, I realized that I want to use my knowledge of law for understanding the implementation aspect of it also. So that is when I decided. So I started full-fledged only after I left my job in 2018 January.
So it means
Then
2 years, 3 years it took.
Yes, sir. And at that time, I felt it was not the it was not the problem in my sources or reading. I did not practice a lot when it came to prelims. So for me, I could not clear prelims in 2 attempts. And, that was the main
So that
problem.
was, I think, key. Otherwise, the very first attempt, they may say it should be counted as your first attempt.
And
Understanding the prelims part, right?
yes, and in second attempt, I cleared my paper one, missed on CSAT. So this could be my message for law students specifically, because maths is something we really don't do for 5 years. So please be very careful of CSAT as well, because I missed my second attempt for the CSAT. Third attempt.
ILS Pune, right?
Yes.
One of your junior actually, he last year again attempted the same thing, right? The CSAT he could not clear. You called that, sir, I cleared CSAT this time. I'm getting 75. Very good. Yeah, so that happens. So that is a very good message to the law students that please prepare for CSAT also. Do not skip or think that you will do it. For engineers, that might be easy, right? But for
yes, that is one thing.
Okay. Now the second question, right? That with regard to this law optional is that what do you think? As a general, did you consider the other optional, or what advantage do you think that the law optional have? I mean that you had while giving the exams. Yes.
Sir, I did not consider any other option because I used to enjoy reading law in my graduation and even after when I went into the preparation aspect of it. So for me, law was a very natural choice and I could not think of anything else. I already had a good base. I knew how to write law answers throughout college. So I did not think of doing anything else. And I think the help that law optional has is what I have noticed, a lot of prelims questions also sometimes are having some legal knowledge involved. So A, it can help in that. Secondly, I think paper two, a lot of overlap is there. You can find some overlap also in ethics paper sometimes. So overall, it helps
GS
to get a
paper
good
three
understanding.
also, that we have international organization.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. There also there's a lot of overlap, right?
Yeah, you were saying something. Okay. Now, what about other subjects? As a law student, right? So, how they can integrate their law optional subject along with other subject? Any guide on that?
Sir, I think paper two constitution is again something that one can integrate. Very helpful for prelims also, especially because
The reason, sorry to interrupt. The reason I'm asking that, suppose I'm a law student, right? I'm reading an article. So the same Hindu article I have to refer to, and in our optional also, and the same in the GS part also, right? So in that sense, how did you integrate it?
sorry, sir, I can you.
Suppose you are reading the Hindu article, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Suppose you are reading a Hindu article, right? And in that article, you read something which you have to write in GS paper also and in your law optional also. Suppose there is such an article. So how did you integrate that? I mean, how did you do it?
Sir, I used to just see that if there is some case law which can be used in the optional, then certainly I would take note of it. And if there's a general conceptual understanding for GS2, then I would do that in for GS2. But what I knew was that in GS2 we can't really have a lot of case heavy sort of answers. That's the understanding I got from previous topper videos. So I used to take note of that.
So then it means you can sum up that that for GS paper 2 you need not to write case heavy answers, right? It should not be more legalistic, it should be more towards a generalistic.
More generalistic perspective.
That is correct. That is correct. Okay. So any last message would you like to give to students, preparing with law optional, that what they can or cannot do, or what they should not do, the mistakes that you committed, they should not commit?
I think if you are comfortable with law and if you're especially a graduate in law, please do consider taking law optional. I don't think there's a reason for not taking it. I've heard a lot of people from law background going for some other optional. I'm not sure why they do that, but for me, I was comfortable. And if you enjoy reading it, please take it up. And the syllabus for a law student is pretty less because for in law we read many other subjects.
Full
So I
procedure
think
is not.
yes, it's only the substantive part of it. So I think it can be managed easily. One mistake or something I would say is that for certain topics, you need not go very deep. Maybe you can have a peripheral or surface understanding of it, and maybe you can consider making some short notes. I did not. So I had some issue in revision at the last moment, but that can be done with other people.
So it must be very precise notes should be there so that at the last moment you can revise it very quickly.
Yes, that can be done.
What about the topper's note? I mean your notes also. What about that? Does that note will help?
Sir, I'm not sure. I was never a person, even in my law school, to refer to notes ever. I used to always go for authentic books, so I don't know how notes I have.
Okay, that's all. That's okay then. So and yeah, one more question. Any online source that you can recommend to the students that they can see that you used to see regularly?
Uh,
That one Nitin Desai Associates, that primary
yes, sir.
live law you told. Any
Live laws.
source that you referred specifically? Because there's one more student. I mean, last year he referred to for international law some blog. I think
Yes, sir.
something blog for international law, right? So something
Yes, sir.
like that. Any other resource that you referred?
So I used to go for eye pleaders sometimes because there are certain older posts I think they have which were relevant for some topics. For example, I think constitutionalism or some other topics are there. But if you just Google that topic and you just put that I pleaders or you put live law, they will directly give that link. I also did see some bar and bench articles were also there. Sometimes SCC online blog is also there.
So
But
there are three,
I
four
can't
big
really
blogs.
fixate. Yes, there are blogs.
But you used to search generally, and whichever article is much better, you used to see. I think that was the case.
Yes, yes.
So these are the, the viewers should note it, right? So these are the 3, 4 important things: SSC blog, live law. We have the Nitin Sai parameter and that blog, right? Similarly, that what you told, that bar and bench
Bar
article.
and bench also.
I
And
think
I
that's
think yes, sir. I think for international law, the UN websites itself have some links, some very short links and all. For example, I think international humanitarian law, there itself is a brief summary of all of
comparing
it.
the two. It is from the UN. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I also supply it to the students. Yeah. That is very, very correct. And what about this part, this international law, that international terrorism and something part? For that also, there is very good summary on that.
Yes, sir. You had told that. Yes, sir. UN.
Okay, so that was a very fruitful discussion. Okay, Kanchi, and thank you very much, and all the best for your coming life, and do inspire students, right? That we talk, right? Inspire,
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
do visit schools and give them pep talk. Okay, that is good, because you
Thank you.
yourself must have taken some inspiration, right? So you are now inspiration. Okay, so thank you very much, and we will further talk. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
okay, thank you.